From the ice planet of Hoth, it's the IGN Digigods. Please welcome two men broadcasting from the inside of a tauntaun, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
I cannot believe that no one has ever made a tauntaun gag before. Corey, who is our tauntauner?
Brought to you by Stuart Moncure, inside of a tauntaun. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Corey.
Really? Next? Okay.
I left that little tag on there from when you voiced your satisfaction at his take.
Is that right?
Yes.
Look at me.
I thought that was funny.
That was funny.
You thought that was funny.
Corey's always funny.
See?
When is Corey not funny?
He's always funny. Anyway, we got a ton today. And next week...
The balcony is closed?
Next week is the big holiday gift guide show, because
What?
next week is Thanksgiving.
Yes.
See? So we want everybody to sort of know what to go for on Black Friday. So we're going to hit you with our great big holiday, Thanksgiving-y, Christmas-y, Hanukkah-y thing, and we're going to nail it next week. It's going to be a fantastic show. It's going to be a big show. It's going to be all kinds of great stuff. And the week after that, we've got we're going to be off because of we're going to be just in hell.
Well, I'll be out of town.
Yes, you'll be out of town. But I'm saying the for the 2 weeks after that, we're in Lafka hell.
Oh my God!
You
know what? We've got nothing. I mean, I've got a few more.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's going to be awful. You know what it's going to be like.
But
You realize that literally we vote on the 7th. We vote on December 7th, D-Day, and we're going to get nothing until 2 weeks before then, and then we're going to be getting phone calls from every publicist of the studio. Have you seen this? Have you seen this? It's like, no, because you haven't sent anything out yet. Well, we have screenings, and suddenly we're going to be like inundated with everything in 2 weeks.
You know what? Can I say something?
It's going to be crazy.
Now, I was on the Facebook page. Now, internally in LAFCA, we have a couple of us have a little Facebook page, and I'm the guy who's emailing our little Facebook group, saying, the Hollywood Reporter used to have a very, very handy guide where every single day you can look and see what is screening awards-wise, but I don't think they have it this year.
And
how come nobody's like, is there some special site I don't know about that they're not telling me about? Because nobody's saying, you're right, Mark, or thanks, Mark, because I had sent a link to that Facebook group with this guy, Richie something, who does his own little third-party, off-the-books screening guide. Yeah. I sent that link to our little Facebook group. It was you, me, Andy Klein, Amy Nicholson, a bunch of others. I mean, is there something I'm not getting?
Well,
is like Amy getting like emails and publicists emails and screening invites every single day? And I'm not.
We got a thing from Strand with a bunch of links. I don't know if you got that.
No,
you didn't get that.
What was that?
I'll send it to you.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what did it have?
They're like 4 films.
On links. I have to watch them on my laptop.
Vimeo. Well, no, dude. Do you have a Vimeo app on your TV?
Of course not.
You don't have like a Roku or an Apple TV or something?
No, I have Time Warner cable.
I'm sure your television. I'm sure.
Well, the PlayStation might have.
I'll bet the PlayStation has an app. Seriously, there's got it. Otherwise, just do a thing like with your. Oh no, because never mind.
Wait, so seriously, so you got an email from Strand with a bunch of.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I have to look that up. Go talk about something.
Okay, well, I'll talk about some funny stuff first. Just a collection of ha-has. Oh, I hit the mic.
I don't care what. I want to know why I didn't get this.
Comedy fans. Got a great documentary here.
Oh, here it is.
So, yeah, see, you got it. Whatever. I knew you.
Yeah, but look, here's what it is. This has nothing to do with DVDs. Okay, here's what they sent. Stranger by the Lake. Do we care?
Maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Wetlands. Do we care? No. The Missing Picture. Do we care? No.
A Missing Picture is good.
No, it's not.
It is. It's a
doc. Okay.
It's a doc.
Okay. Is there a reason? Oh, it's a doc. Okay.
It's 3T Pine. Killing Fields. It's like,
right. Okay,
it's important.
Okay, got it. Okay, that'll have to watch.
Yeah.
Abuse of Weakness. The hell's that? No one cares.
I don't know.
Exactly. The Way He Looks. No one cares. That's why I trashed it. Although I should watch The Missing Picture. Because have you seen any docs worth it this year?
Yes, The Plot for Peace. Unbelievable.
Really?
Claudia and I just talked about it on Friday on about a week ago.
Wow.
On NPR.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. I don't know that it's on anyone's radar, frankly. But I mean, the one that everybody's like really, really buzzing about is the Snowden thing.
The Snowden thing. Well, you know what?
That's what's got everybody really, really buzzing.
But sometimes when it comes to docs,
which I've not seen.
Well, I've not seen it either. When it comes to docs, we can be a little weird. Like,
Yes,
we may
can.
not go for the Snowden thing. We may go for some little thing about blah, blah.
Yeah, it's true.
Some, like, Chinese immigrant who walks 500 miles to go see his cat or something. You know what I mean? Like, we'll wind up with that.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true. So, well, here, I'm going to talk about funny stuff. When Comedy Went to School is a wonderful documentary that I thoroughly enjoyed, and it's the history of the Catskills as ground zero for American Jewish comedy.
I've seen this doc, Wade.
I know you're not as fond of it as I am.
I am not.
Because you're too close to it. You're Jewish and you're from New York and you know people who went to the Catskills and you probably said like, oh, they didn't talk about the sauna room, which is where Shecky Green used to pull his pants down. I'm sure there's like stuff that you saw that was missing.
It was Alan Sherman. He used to pull his pants down.
For me, I grew up on this stuff, but from afar, as a Gentile in Los Angeles. To me, it's just funny after funny after funny, and I just love seeing everybody interviewed here. Robert Klein hosts the thing. They got Jerry Lewis to talk to them, which is an accomplishment. Sid Caesar, Jerry Stiller, Jackie Mason, they're all in this thing, and I think it's some wonderful stories. And I loved the whole melancholic thing that this is where Jewish families from New York went, and these guys performed. And, like Danny Kaye, and they're all on stage, and they're doing their shtick, and people are laughing, and it's a family affair, and it's like this resort place. I love that whole thing. I thought it was great.
You're like an honorary Jew.
I am. Thank you. Do I get a card?
No.
Oh.
No, actually, here's what you get. Half the world hates you.
Indigestion?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
How dare you. That's an outrage.
Thank you. And then also, Weird Al Yankovic. There's a lot
Yeah,
of lines we're talking
I love
about
Weird
funny.
Al. He's the best.
So we get the Complete Al. That's Leat, Complete.
Awesome.
Never been on DVD before. So this is This is the mockumentary that has all of his amazing videos. Eat It and everything else.
Love it.
And it's cute. It's fun.
I've seen Al. I've seen Al in concert twice.
Yeah,
I
know you have. And I wish this were on Blu-ray, but it's not. But you know what is on Blu-ray? In a special edition? UHF.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
25th anniversary edition. This is sort of when, long before he portrayed Kramer, Michael Richards kind of did his little shtick in this, and this is kind of between Fridays and Seinfeld.
But this is like very much like a Kentucky Fried Movie type cold comedy.
Totally. It's completely off the wall. It's just Weird Al just being completely wacky. And lots of great extras in here. A panel from Comic-Con earlier this year. An audio commentary, deleted scenes, music video, lots of stuff. Fun little Easter eggs. I think I've only found a couple of them. I'm not sure there's more than that. But, there's a lot of fun stuff. I mean, he just spoofs in this, and it's completely off the wall. And a lot of fun. My favorite gag in this, do you know what my favorite gag is?
I do not.
It's the homeless guy who keeps asking for change. He's like, change, mister? And finally somebody gives him money. He makes change. And he gives him change. It's the stupidest throwaway gag, and it's just so funny. It's just so damn funny.
Awesome.
And then also, 1 down, 5 to go. This is Monty Python Live, mostly.
Yeah, that was a big deal when that happened.
Yeah. And so this is getting them all back together, except of course for Graham Chapman, and that's what they mean by mostly. And that's very nostalgic and sweet. And honestly, this was a huge deal. I mean, this was getting them all back together for the first time in over 3 decades. And wow, does it deliver! It is just an awful lot of fun at the Oz London, and wow, really great. Just so, I mean, these guys still have it, and they're better than ever, and that is a beautiful Blu-ray for any Python fan. You will just not regret it. Also, a few other little ephemera, some other ephemera before we get into television. We're going to plow through some big deal TV here. Milestone Collection, Milestone Cinematheque is what they're calling their line now. Do such a great job of unearthing really great archival stuff, and they have a couple out from Shirley Clark, who is one of the kind of pioneering American indie filmmakers that everyone has forgotten about. And one is Ornette, Made in America, and the other is Portrait of Jason, which was released theatrically earlier this year. And Portrait of Jason really is just first rate. This is about Jason Holiday, who is this gay black man that was shot for a complete solid day in 1966 as he basically just spun his life for Shirley Clark's cameras. And you have to remember, this is at a time when this is all kind of gay rights movement. This is a guy who is essentially coming out when it literally could have been used against him legally could have gone to jail. And it's really, it's historically significant. It's fascinating, and it's incredibly entertaining, and really, really worth checking out. And then Ornette Made in America is a tribute and a snapshot and a profile of Ornette Coleman, the great musician, which is, it kind of uses his life and career as like a template for a particular kind of American life. And that also is an absolutely wonderful job of restoration that they did on this, and a fantastic film. So Shirley Clark, a couple of great ones from Shirley Clark. And then we've got a trio of films here. If you are a fan of Loki from the Thor films, meaning Tom Hiddleston made a trio of movies for director Joanna Hogg that are relatively unheard of in the U.S., but definitely cool little films that are worth checking out, especially if you like Tom Hiddleston. I mean, I think he's a great actor. I think he's one of the great British actors who's just come of age. And the films are Archipelago, Unrelated, and Exhibition, all of them out from Kino Lorber. Joanna Hogg is a very interesting filmmaker, really, really good with actors, and tells these very, very interesting kind of contained stories. And I hope she kind of breaks through sometime soon, because she does all three of these are really interesting movies, and she obviously likes to work with Tom Hiddleston, and I can't fault her for that. And then lastly, before we get into our television, I just want to hit a few kid things. We haven't done Kid Vid in a while, and we're going to do a little bit of it when we do the Christmas show, the holiday show. But a few other things that are worth mentioning. Young Justice there's a Young Justice movie that is out now on Blu-ray from Warner's DC line. And even though I'm not a big fan of the Young Justice thing, it's pretty cool seeing it in Blu-ray. The animation actually kind of pops in a much more impressive way. So look for that, especially Miss Martian, who's kind of like the female equivalent of John John's Man from Mars. Miss Martian, pretty cool. Kind of like the green dancing girls in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Something about green skin, man. Mm-hmm. It's sexy.
I guess.
Green is sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Green is sexy.
Whatever.
And the great kids book, Guess How Much I Love You, which we're finally getting for my daughter, it has a TV variation on it. And Autumn's here. The Adventures of Little Nut Brown Hair. Guess How Much I Love You. This is just a collection of 7 episodes that are all about autumn and how wonderful it is, and the animation is delightful. Also, continuing our DC Comics thing, we have a trio of titles here. Let me pull them out, get it all together. We've got Blu-ray of Batman the Brave and the Bold, the complete second season. Looks really sharp. Not my favorite show, but, we have just regular old Batman, Season 1, Part 2, Dark Justice. Cooler animation, cooler concept, better writing. This is a show I should probably watch more of, because it's like the darker Batman again. And then on DVD, we have JLA for, obviously Justice League of America, JLA Adventures Trapped in Time. This is a really well-written original movie. I wish they'd get the people who write these things to at least work on some of the feature films, because they're sharp. They understand the characters, and they understand the DC world, and that's really sharp. What do you think? What do you think Suicide Squad's going to be like?
At this point,
you following
Marvel is just Marvel's having a Pixar-esque run. They're having a early Rob Reiner-esque run in terms of their ability to make everything work. Ant-Man, now Ant-Man may wind up being the one that.
But Suicide Squad's a DC thing. That's the Joker and all the
Suicide Squad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Suicide Squad.
You know what? It's David Ayer, right?
Yeah.
He's the right guy to direct that.
He is.
It's a platoon thing, kinda. I get it.
Yeah.
I think it might be okay.
Well, speaking of Marvel, we also have Marvel Knights Eternals. written by Neil Gaiman, or Gaiman. I don't know how you pronounce that.
Gaiman.
Gaiman. He's a great writer. And that commencement speech that's on YouTube that he gave some years ago is pretty great, too. But anyway, the Eternals kind of digs a little bit deep into the Marvel playbook. It's like, X-Men if they were really, really old and wise and immortal. I guess you have to be kind of a hardcore Marvel nerd to really, really vibe to it. But it's nicely done, nicely written, and all that jazz. And then the last three here on the KidVid end, a Blu-ray, DVD, and digital copy set of Rainbow Rocks. This is the Equestria girls from My Little Pony, just doing kind of a Josie and the Pussycat thing. And I'm a little reluctant to show this to my daughter because I kind of want her to continue with her Peppa Pig thing. So I think this will just be set aside for the future. Ava and Lala is really, really cute. This is it's derivative, obviously. Anything that involves a cute little girl and lots of cute animals is going to be derivative. We've kind of seen this a million times before, but this one is from Arc Entertainment, and they've got a division that actually does quite a few of these. We've talked about a few of them in the past. And it's a little bit Monsters Inc-y, and it's a little bit Madagascar-y. It's kind of somewhere between Monsters Inc. and Madagascar, and I think that's okay. I think the animals are adorable, the animation is perfectly serviceable, and the girl's cute.
Whatever you say, Wade. I got no kids.
And then from PBS Kids, Peg and Cat. We're trying to get into Peg and Cat a little bit. It's not as popular as Peppa Pig in our house, but it won a ton of Emmy Awards this year. And this is Peg and Cat, Chickens on the Loose, and Other Really Big Problems. So it's also, a little girl, it's sweet. It's very appropriate and very proper, and it has kind of a Raggedy Ann, art style. So that also goes. We're trying to wean into that a little bit. By the way, Elmo is suddenly a big deal in our house.
Oh, God.
I never imagined that I'd be one of those parents. Seriously.
You have no choice.
I know.
She calls the shots.
All right, Mark. Television.
Here's the thing, Wade. So we have these Brady Bunch Target exclusives.
Yeah.
It's the first 5 seasons of the Brady Bunch. Target. Get it. It's very nice. But I don't know why you would buy the Brady Bunch in individual Season 1, Season 2, Season 3,
because
Season 4, Season 5.
You're a Target shopper. That's why.
No, you know what? If you want this, by the way, forget it. Go online and buy the Brady Bunch Complete Series with shag carpet cover. Okay, the Brady Bunch Complete Series with shag carpet cover is on DVD. It's only $50 on Amazon, and it's got a really cool shag carpet cover. That's the one you want. There is no reason to buy these Brady Bunch individual seasons. If you like Brady Bunch enough to buy these 5, save yourself some money and get yourself the shag carpeted cover.
All right.
The end.
All right.
Forget Target. No one cares.
I hear you. Bronco is a classic TV show. It's one of those westerns, one of those TV westerns everybody forgot about conveniently, and Warner Brothers is resurrected. And we now have the second season here. The first season came out about a year ago, I think. Ty Hardin stars on the show, and it's essentially, it's one of those things a little bit like Rawhide. He's just a guy, and he's moving across the West, and a little bit like Kwai Chang Caine in Kung Fu, although it's not a Kung Fu thing. He's just doing his thing, but man, people just keep messing with him, and it always comes back to hurt him.
Yeah.
The thing I like about these old shows, they had great guest stars, people that you know from all kinds of other shows and movies, and writers who really understood their environment, and you feel very much like they do their research, and they kind of created a wonderful sort of atmosphere of the era. Like, for example, you even have Cole Younger and Jesse James show up here. James Coburn plays Jesse James, and some of the great cameos here, like Alan Hale, Yvonne Craig, Batgirl, right? Troy Donahue, Mary Tyler Moore before she was Mary Tyler Moore. It's great. And you'll see tons of other people show up here, Oscar winners and all kinds of others. And that's Bronco, complete second season. So one of those wonderful, unsung, and long-forgotten westerns that has been resurrected. Thank you, Warner Brothers.
Wait, on True TV, which used to show a lot of court stuff and a lot of interesting docs about crime and the court system and whatnot, they're now doing stuff like Impractical Jokers, which is your typical hidden camera, candid camera, blah, blah. This is the complete second season on a 3-disc set. I'd be lying if I said that all of this sucked. I mean, a lot of it sucks. It's not sucks as much as it's like, okay, I get it. More of this. Why you and not somebody else? It just seems like a format that was sucked dry 5 years ago, and now here come these guys. So Impractical Jokers is not terrible. There is some funny stuff in there, and these 4 guys, I think they're lifelong friends. It's okay. Better than okay is The Newsroom. Now, this is the Aaron Sorkin HBO show starring Jeff Daniels and Emily Mortimer. I love Emily Mortimer. She's so cute.
She's the best.
She's so cute.
I was on an adjacent jury to hers at AFI Fest some years ago. So we all kind of, she was on the, was she on the docs jury? I think she feature or the docs jury. I was on the shorts jury when Jason Reitman had his short in competition before he was Jason Reitman. No, she's lovely. She's lovely. We're all deliberating at the same restaurant at the same time.
Don't care because I didn't get to look at her. I didn't get to stare at her.
She's so sweet. As sweet as you think she is, she's even sweeter.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Nope. I don't want to hear it.
Yep.
Olivia Munn also in it. Sam Waterston, Jane Fonda. Anyway, so The Newsroom. It's you know what? It's just so whatever you might think about the show. It is so interesting hearing Aaron Sorkin work out his issues on this show. It's so interesting to hear him do these little dialectics on the show. With the little,
and Jeff Daniels is a great alter ego.
He's a great alter ego. Yeah. He looks like a newsman. He's got that Keith Olbermann thing going on. I know that Sorkin and Keith are friends or are friends. Who the hell knows? The show is not perfect, and it is definitely coming to an end on HBO. In fact, the new season arrives this month if it hasn't already arrived.
But it feels right when a show comes to an end.
Huh?
It feels right when a show comes to an end.
Well, no one thought this thing would only last 3 seasons, but I think it's fine for it to end.
Yeah.
I think HBO has other fish to fry. They have, whatever, Game of Thrones and other stuff. But this was definitely a prestige show by a great writer who has a lot to say. So no matter what you think of Sorkin's politics, the drama, you just can't beat. Now, when it comes to drama, now when I think of drama, and I think of Aaron Sorkin,
I think of Drama Mean?
Hot in Cleveland with Betty White, Valerie Bertinelli, and Jane Leeves. This is on TV Land. I don't know what to say about the show. Except that it gives Betty White work.
That's all it does.
That's all it does.
You know what? TV Land obviously doesn't have enough to pay writers, but they have enough to pay cast.
Yeah, I mean, how expensive are these people, though? Come on, man. How expensive is Valerie Bertinelli at this point? How expensive is Jane Leeves? Terrible. Yeah. Although the DVD does include an animated version of the show, which is kind of a little bit weird and ridiculous.
So Quincy, the original Examiner, as far as doing crime shows, they never had shows about examiners or even examiners be a significant part of these shows. But medical examiners became a big deal when Jack Klugman became Quincy, M.E. And this is season 7. Obviously, there's nothing different in season 7 that you didn't already have in the first 6 seasons. 24 episodes of Jack Klugman just doing his thing and being that grumpy medical examiner that everyone remembers him as. And that's the thing that impresses me about this show is that he was Oscar on The Odd Couple. And to reinvent one iconic character by becoming another one, which William Shatner has done twice, by the way.
Was T.J. Hooker really that iconic?
Oh, yeah. T.J. Hooker was hilarious. I mean, there's a whole generation of people. I mean, true, everyone knows him either as Captain Kirk or Denny Crane, but T.J. Hooker is still pretty iconic. It is. It's T.J. Hooker. It's a jungle out there. It's a great show.
Terrible.
Anyway, so 24 episodes, no extras, but Shout Factory and Universal are helping us wrap out this show. And then we also have Heartland, which is a show I've never heard of. This is the 4th season of Heartland, which is still running on a network known as Uplifting Entertainment, the network otherwise known as Up. I'm always amazed at how many cable networks are out there that I've never heard of. It's just, this is a whole brave new world. But it's a very, very simple kind of, obviously Uplifting Entertainment is not marketing porn to the masses. So the whole point here is to do something very homespun, very rural, very middle American, and that's exactly what it is. Amber Marshall and Michelle Morgan are these sisters, and they live on a ranch, and they love horses, and it's just really sweet and got a lot of great life lessons and some very decent acting, and there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just not enthralling. It's obviously not Law and Order, but it's not bad. So whoever's making this show, they're obviously doing something right, and I'm going to have to look for Uplifting Entertainment and see what else is on there.
No, you're not. I like MeTV. You know, Me TV.
It's like what Nick at Night used to be.
It's the best. Like, oh my God, they have reruns of every single show that is the Star Trek and Adam 12 and just all of them. Yeah, it's the best.
I've heard that. I haven't watched it yet.
That's the greatest.
Yeah.
I Dream of Jeannie. It's got all those sitcoms that you love from the '60s. They're so lame.
Well, I've got all those on DVD. I'll just put them on.
You're not doing that.
Maybe not. And then the final season of The Big Valley. Dun 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 dun. Which is the show basically that sort of wrapped out Barbara Stanwyck's career and which launched Linda Evans and Lee Major's careers. And Peter Breck and Richard Long were along for the ride. This let's be honest. This show really only came into existence because they felt we got to do something to counteract Bonanza. And so they cooked up a kind of quasi-Bonanza, a different family, and they hired Barbara Stanwyck to be the matriarch to counteract Lorne Greene's patriarch. And frankly, it's a much more interesting show in a lot of regards. The Big Valley is actually a very, very good show and did a lot right that Bonanza did differently. So I think both shows are compelling in their own right. And this obviously is, it's another California ranch. And it's really fun, and also some really, really good cameos here as well. So that one is out from Timeless, who does all this great kind of nostalgic Western stuff, and that is the final season of The Big Valley.
Big Valley. Okay, wait, we got a couple of Fox shows to talk about. First is Salem, the complete first season. This is a show that is based on the Salem witch trials. Of course, those were in the 17th century. This show, is all about that. Massachusetts, Salem, witch trials, crazy, wackiness. Yep. I think this show is not a big fan. Critics are not a big fan of this show. I think that it's becoming a bit of a cult show, and the 3-disc set includes 13 episodes. I don't know what to say about this show. I'm hoping that in season 2, it's either going to take off and become a hit, or it's just going to always just sort of live in that middle ground of mediocrity and just become like a more popular with fans than anybody else. So Salem, I like the topic. The execution is okay. Also on Fox, we have Graceland. Now, Graceland is this was renewed for a second season, by the way. It's about these undercover. Yes, I don't know why. About these undercover agents. They're scattered all across the U.S. There's FBI people, there's DEA people, there's ICE people, and they all live in this beach house, and the beach house is called Graceland. And so they're all fresh out of Quantico training, and that's the show. I just feel like I've seen this sort of stuff before, where everybody's super handsome and everybody's really gorgeous, and they're all packing guns, all fast paced, and I don't really care about the people. Is the real problem? I just feel like this thing only exists just to show people running around training facilities and and holding guns. I don't know what the appeal is of Graceland, but it has already been on for a season. This is the season 2 DVD. So there you go, Graceland. Not a fan. The X's on TV Land is a terrible show that I guess, like we were saying before, if it's TV Land and you can get together, the guy from Wayne Newman from Seinfeld, Donald Faison from Scrubs, and Kristen Stewart from Third Rock from the Sun. If you can get those people together for a show, you've got yourself something on TV Land. And this is the X's. This is season 1 and 2. And I guess there's new episodes that are coming up. It's Wednesdays on TV Land, but this thing is just terrible. I mean, TV Land is not really affording themselves the best writers out there. So I would, unless you love these people because you're such a fan of 90s sitcoms or early 2000 sitcoms, I'd pass on this. The Good Guys is a show that we were really hoping would do well, but in the end it got canceled. And we were fans of this show because we got to interview Colin Hanks back when we were doing Stupid for Movies.
Yes, that's right.
And Colin, who was a really cool guy, and at that point, the show had already been canceled. And I remember one of our questions was, how does the network let you know it's been canceled? Do they call you? Do they call the agent? The agent calls you. He was a super cool guy, and Bradley Whitford is also great. But I love the milieu. It's all about, a 70s. It's almost like a spoofy 70s detective show thing. I thought this place had a lot of interesting areas yet to explore, but in the end, people just didn't get it. So it is gone, The Good Guys, but we liked it.
All right, we're going to speed the show up because we got still a lot of stuff to cover. New movies and classic movies and cult stuff, and if we can get to it, even some foreign stuff. So, and I've got some British TV and anime that I'd love to get to. Don't think I will, but we'll see. A few documentaries I want to burn through real quickly here. Precious Muir is an aspiring British model who faces an interesting dilemma about get breast implants or your career is over. And this is basically a documentary from Garden Thieves Pictures that is about her and that whole dilemma, what choice she makes. There's the mystery therein. But obviously hidden between all of the sensationalistic stuff is the reality that for a lot of women this is a choice that their careers hinge on. And it doesn't go as deep into that dilemma, I think, as it needs to. But it's through the eyes of one woman and her experience, and it certainly sets the ball rolling. Vikings Raiders from the North is a DVD that comes in a Blu-ray package. So don't be thrown if you see this on store shelves. It's a DVD. It's marked as a DVD. They just happen to use one of those clear plastic packages that Cohen and Draft House and a lot of other companies use for their Blu-rays. It's the clear plastic version of a Blu-ray case. Anyway, this is a documentary about Vikings. It is by no means comprehensive. It's about 100 minutes long, but it hits all the major beats. It doesn't go into a lot of the specific historical details, but you certainly get a sense of what it meant to be a Viking, and it's a nice companion piece to the TV show Vikings, which they're not sending us in season 2. So, I wanted to talk about them in the same breath, but didn't happen. JFK, the Private President, a look inside Camelot. Nice little documentary from First Run Features that is kind of strictly for JFK fans. Nothing really about the presidency per se. This is just home movie type footage that gives you a sense of what it really was like to be a part of a presidency that has young children in the house. And it was an interesting period in time. The 60s were both kind of nostalgic and volatile. And that's what this is all about. And it's nicely put together, very professional, very, very sincere. Alive Inside is won the Audience Award at Sundance earlier this year, and this is a pretty terrific documentary, I got to say. Having some family experience with this, the idea here is that people who have dementia, the best therapy they can get is music. And it's primarily all through the it's all kind of there's a researcher who has put together an approach to helping them by putting together these sort of mixes of their favorite music. And when they listen to music that comes from when they were younger, that sort of helps them remember, and it does right for the brain. It's amazing. They show precisely how it actually helps the brain, more so than medication. Music better for the brain than medication in cases of dementia. And it's quite a fascinating film to watch. It's really extraordinary, and that's out on Blu-ray. Not sure it needs to be on Blu-ray, but no matter how you see it, you got to check it out. It really is a very, very touching doc, and hopefully it results in some changes in the insurance and medical profession, because music cheaper, like they point out in this, like an iPod is cheaper than about a month of medication in many cases, but insurance will not pay for the iPod.
And you can't dance to medication.
See, there you go. Right? Let's see. Let me go through here. The Dog. Did you see The Dog?
What is that?
That's the guy that Dog Day Afternoon was based on.
Yeah, you know what? I was invited to that thing 100 times, and I never went.
Man, those invitations came endlessly, didn't they?
And in the end, I never went.
No, I didn't either. I waited for this. Not as interesting as Dog Day Afternoon, to be honest, but interesting just the same.
Great story.
Yeah, it is a great story, and it's not. I know they want to say it's a Draft House film, and it comes in that clear plastic, Blu-ray packaging that I mentioned a second ago. Draft House picks a lot of really interesting stuff. Could be better. I think the story could have been told a little more cleanly, but it's still a really interesting story. And if you're a fan of Dog Day Afternoon, it's an even more interesting story, because then you can start playing the fact versus fiction game. So it's a worthwhile sit. I think it's probably going to be considered one of the. I don't know if this is going to be in the top. I'd say this is maybe one of the top 10, 12 documentaries of the year.
I would say top 10, maybe not top 5.
Yeah. Let's see. PBS did a wonderful job with The Mystery of Agatha Christie with David Suchet, or Suchet, depending how you want to pronounce it, which is all about the life of Agatha Christie, which we know nothing about. We know more about her writing than we do about Agatha Christie herself. But this is really good. And, of course, they pick, David to do this because he is television's Poirot. So he is a suitable figure and a wonderful host, and it's really, 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 it's really nicely done. Very nicely put together. It's only an hour long, so obviously not going to get into any, of the crazy nuances. Some people like to speculate about all this and that with Agatha Christie, but no, they don't go there. Let's see. James Cameron is always good for a yuck. James Cameron's Deep Sea Challenge 3D.
And he just will not stop.
He's the most restless human being on the planet. Basically, he wanted to, he's one of the only people who's gone down into the Marianas Trench. Like, there's only a handful of people who's ever done it. He's one of them. It's like,
well, Mariana's very dirty. She doesn't shower.
Wow, you did go there. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, I went there. Snap.
That's 7 miles down into the ocean. I mean, the pressures must be just insane. Anyway, so this is James Cameron taking a little 3D trip down into the middle of the ocean in the Mariana Trench, and I guess it's interesting. It's water. I never really got into deep sea diving films. Let's see. No, that's not quite as interesting as it should be. I Am Ali. Did you see I Am Ali?
Nope.
It's good. It's really good. Muhammad Ali, one of the more, for a guy who's so public through his whole life, surprisingly enigmatic to most of the public. So this pulls the curtains back, and you get a much more complete picture of who Muhammad Ali was and who he is. And this is a really extraordinary man, physically talented, mentally very, very bright, and yet very troubled and conflicted in a lot of respects. And it's a wonderful, wonderful documentary. This might be on the short list too, by the way. I Am Ali is.
Oh, I can see that.
It's really solid, and it's not a puff piece. It really makes every effort to get inside the guy. Okay, hold on. This is worth making a mention of. What the Bleep, Down the Rabbit Hole, 10th Anniversary Edition. You remember this whole What the Bleep thing?
I know. It was a big
That was
deal.
a phenomenon for a moment. And it's just basically just kind of, New Age pop psychology. That's all it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It was almost like The Secrets. Like, why are people freaking out over this stuff? It's just like the same old crappy message in a new package.
Yeah, it's just New Age pop psychology, but they made a couple of movies that were all kind of made people think about their lives. I had people call me and they're like, this changed my life. I'm never going to be the same. I'm making different choices starting the first thing in the morning.
Yeah, and then by the evening they were making the same bad choices they always made.
But it had an effect on people, and it's interesting. It's fine, but anyway, you get you get a couple of different versions here. The theatrical version and the quantum version, which is 5 hours. And you get to sort of build your own viewing experience. I really didn't.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means either. I didn't even try. It sounded way too pretentious for me to even attempt. But anyway, obviously the film has a following, and those who weren't interested before, aren't going to be interested now. And then before we get into new films, let me throw out a couple from Virgil. Virgil Films always puts out a lot of interesting stuff. This is Money for Nothing, History of the Music Video, which is really fun. It's almost impossible to do this comprehensively, but there's so much material that's really great in here that I don't really care what they left out. 78 minutes of just sheer music video history bliss. And Mark and I belong to the generation that grew up with the music video, so there's really nothing here that we haven't been experienced to. We have no exposure to. Obviously, they go a little further back. They go into sort of the origins of music video, starting with like musical shorts in 30s and 40s, and Bob Dylan and things that sort of preceded technically the 80s era music video, but we've seen all that stuff as well. And once you get into the 80s music videos, it's just that was the golden era of music videos, man. That was great. And then also from Virgil, Out of the Clear Blue Sky, which is yet another documentary about September 11th, but very, very different. This is about Cantor Fitzgerald. Specifically, they decided to pick one particular company and in this case, Cantor Fitzgerald, and they want to focus on their particular experience, the tragedy of that day through that one company, which lost 658 employees in one moment.
That was just unbelievable.
I mean, that's 658 employees killed instantly, and that that's just extraordinary and devastating. And I don't think a lot of people realize that there was one company that suffered that big of a toll. I mean, that's like, about 3,000 people died. That's like 1 out of every 5 of the people who were killed on 9/11 worked for one company. It's incredible.
Incredible. Terrible.
It's incredible. It's horrible. So that brings it home in a very, very personal way, and that also very, very well worth seeing. All right, Mark, let's pound some new movies.
Let's do it. What do we got, Wade? Line them up.
All right, let's pound them.
Line them up.
Pound them. Drive Hard. I'm going to talk about Drive Hard first. Because Drive Hard, everybody missed. It was in theaters for a second and a half, and I actually had a lot of fun with it. John Cusack and Thomas Jane, 2 guys that you would think would never be in a movie together. Brian Trenchard Smith, who is an Australian-American director who's done a lot of B-movies over many decades, and he's a workman-like guy. He's made tons of movies, and he makes them fast, and he makes them cheap, and he makes them great, and he's a real throwback to the old, kind of Corman school. He's just really fun. He co-wrote and directed this, and it is a rip-roaring, really fun film with Thomas Jane as a former race car driver whose life is now very domesticated. He's now married, and he's got, he's settled down, and he doesn't really race anymore, and he's just doesn't really have much of a life. And suddenly he bumps into this guy played by John Cusack, who hires him. Thomas Jane basically works as a driving instructor now. And he's an American, and he's an expat, and he's living in Australia. The whole film's shot in Australia. John Cusack is this American who pops in and wants to be taught how to drive in Australia. And next thing you know, he's taken Thomas Jane hostage because he's now robbed a bank, or he's robbed a financial organization, let's just say, which he has a connection to. And now they're both on the run. And where it goes from there, it's just unpredictable. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very satirical. It's very funny. And as far as heist and chase movies go, I think it's a gem and a total surprise. So you definitely want to check out Drive Hard. That is a completely from left field surprise that you'll have a lot of fun with.
Speaking of a lot of fun, Wade, 22 Jump Street, funny.
Yeah,
come on, hilarious. It's Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. They're very funny together, and obviously the movie, which was directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the guys who did the Lego Movie, they have a very specific and very rambunctious comedy sense. Very fast-paced, funny stuff.
I'll tell you, I think this may be the funniest studio film that I've seen since Team America.
Really?
I laughed so hard at this. I thought it was just terrific. I mean, the first one I was not that fond of, but this is outrageously funny because it's satire. The whole thing. They say, we're not even in Jump Street territory anymore. Screw it. The title is just something that gives you, we now have these guys. They're their own thing. It's not tied to the TV show. We're just going to go off on. It's going to be a wacky buddy comedy that just spoofs everything. And there's a whole gay subtext to this thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
That whole gay subtext is hysterical. It is beyond. I mean, the double entendres they outdo Three's Company. It's brilliant. They really do.
Quite a low bar there, Wade. No, this is really funny stuff. And you know what? It's we've talked about this before. How it's so difficult nowadays to watch a film where you feel like the inmates are running the asylum. It doesn't feel as if it's been market tested. It doesn't feel like there's any studio interference. It just feels like a bunch of filmmakers made the film they wanted to make. Love it or leave it. And these guys just went hog wild. And it's really funny. So 22 Jump Street has a lot of special features, including a whole bunch of Blu-ray exclusives. So you may want to get the Blu-ray as opposed to the DVD. There's some deleted scenes and extended scenes. Those are funny. There's a commentary by Jonah and Channing Tatum and Phil and Chris. So, yep, check it out. 22 Jump Street. Funny.
Good stuff.
It is good stuff. Also good, a little interesting, is this kind of adventure movie, monster movie mashup that kind of came and went called Ragnarok. Now, Ragnarok, years ago there was a Viking ship that was run aground many years ago, and this archaeologist finds the ship and goes into the ruins of the ship and finds all this stuff about Norse mythology and the myth of Ragnarok, and it's all about the myth of Ragnarok and how that turns into this crazy adventure movie that's kind of like... it's less Raiders of the Lost Ark than it is like Alan Quatermain. So it's very B-movie-ish, you know? But it's actually kind of fun. I mean, it definitely rips off the Raiders of the Lost Ark template.
Sweet.
So it's this is not, you know, like original stuff, but you know, and there's tomb raiding and mystery ships and like the hot young teenage daughter and blah blah blah. So I can't say this is original in any way, shape, or form, but it has its charms. I have to say, Ragnarok. This is worth a. I'm really bored on a Thursday night rental.
We also have another John Cusack film, Reclaim. He just keeps playing bad guys in this new phase of his career, and he's really good at it. He plays a bad guy alongside Jackie Weaver, who, as we know from Animal Kingdom, is just great when she plays bad. Fantastic bad. Ryan Felipe, always a good victim, is this guy who, along with his wife, played by Rachel Lefebvre, they've got a daughter who suddenly disappears, and her disappearance is tied into the fact that John Cusack and Jackie Weaver are human traffickers. The twists and turns don't always pan out, but it's, like Mark said with Ragnarok, it's probably decent. Just, if you want to watch something that's diverting for an evening and not pay too close attention, you could do worse. Is that damning with faint praise?
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Damning with faint praise. You're damning it, but there's a little bit of praise involved.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And then in a big whopping Blu-ray 3D, Blu-ray, DVD, and ultraviolet digital HD combo set, boy, say there's a mouthful, is Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, the sequel to Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller's original Sin City. And this one cost about 2 or 3 times as much and made a fraction of what the first one made.
Same damn movie.
Because it's exactly the same thing. The structure is exactly the same. All the the way the storylines kind of wrap around each other, it's the same. Everything it's a little bit different in the sense that you only have a couple of cast members who come back. Jessica Alba and Mickey Rourke are the returning cast members basically, and then you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Rosario Dawson and Josh Brolin in particular. They kind of make. They're the new storylines. They walk in, and it folds back on the original film a little bit. The Joseph Gordon-Levitt stuff I found to be much more interesting because that ties in with the Powers Booth stuff from the previous film. Dennis Haysbert's terrific in this, by the way. It's like a bodyguard who's just invincible. Pretty great. Eva Green is terrific. She's in the Josh Brolin storyline. She's the new kind of femme fatale figure, and Josh Brolin is quite good here as well. But you know what? It's still the same movie. It's exactly the same kind of thing. I guess if you love the first one and you feel the need to see more of that, then this is obviously going to fit the bill. But I didn't feel like I needed more. I felt like the first film kind of scratched that itch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't need a sequel, especially a sequel that's the same thing.
It's exactly the same thing. It doesn't really. It just continues. It's just more of those kinds of stories, and that's whatever. All right, let's see. Cult movies. I want to get to some of the foreign things, too, because I know there's one in there that we are both super fond of. So let me just make quick mention of a few cult movies here. Mario Bava's Planet of the Vampires from American International, the Sam Arkoff company that started Roger Corman's career. This is now out in a Blu-ray form, and it's a beautiful Blu-ray, but it's ridiculous. This is part of the ongoing Kino Lorber series of Studio Classics. They got this one from the Orion Library, which inherited much of the AIP library. So this thing has bounced around a lot as far as rights are concerned. This was made in 1965, straight-up exploitation film. It's an Italian movie that AIP picked up and dubbed, and boy, it's just... It's nutty. It's really nutty. It's cheesy beyond all belief, but kind of entertaining at the same time. Planet of the Vampires. The Bubble in Space Vision 3D, also a long-forgotten cult movie that's kind of a sort of a central film in the 60s renaissance of 3D, not the original 50s moment, but in the 60s when they took another shot at it. They have a 3D version here, which you obviously need a 3D player for, a Blu-ray player. And it's not bad. It's kind of interesting. They especially when you watch the restoration on this. As a film, The Bubble is not very good. It's just it wants to be sort of in the same vein as like a zombie film or even something like the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's sort of it's kind of trying to be one of those sorts of movies, and it's not that successful, but technically it's a little more interesting. The Doctor and the Devils is from Scream Factory, the division of Shout Factory. This is a Hammer film that does a wonderful job of kind of preserving the spirit of the old Hammer films. It's not technically a classic Hammer film, but it hits on all those cylinders. It's directed by Freddie Francis, who of course is also one of the legendary DPs of all time, a cinematographer for The Elephant Man, among many other fine films. Screenplay by Ronald Harwood, also a legendary screenwriter, and it's basically a 19th century cadaver movie with Timothy Dalton and Jonathan Pryce and Patrick Stewart and a lot of really fine British actors. And it just feels like a freaking Hammer film. It's great. Let's see. We also have Dolls, which was kind of when was Dolls? Was it late 80s? I think it was late 80s. Stuart Gordon, who would of course do things like Reanimator. This is one of his lesser efforts. Still kind of freaky. Countess Dracula, which is an actual original Hammer film from 1971. Kind of cheesy, but it's got some interesting performances in it. It is what it is. Return to Nukem High. This is one of those great Troma films that we just don't get any of anymore. This is Return to Nukem High, Volume 1. It's, just Lloyd Kaufman completely going out of his mind. And, of course, they package it in a green plastic keep case as a Blu-ray because, green is the color of toxicity, you see.
Oh, I've seen those Toxic Avenger Blu-rays and DVDs. They're all green.
They're all green. It's great. It's all, irradiated and toxic wasted and all that. Blu-ray DVD combo pack from of the movie Death Spa, which I had never heard of before, and it's truly incredibly ridiculous. This is from MPI, and the only thing that makes this film watchable is that it's so incredibly stupid and bad. This is an 80s film, and boy, does it look like an 80s film. It is so dated. It just, it basically elevates the whole 80s health fad to a horror film. You don't want to go to the death spa.
I do.
Even better, with a similar title, is one of the greatest 70s horror films ever made. It is so ridiculous. This has been made fun of so many times, and it's just so much better than you can possibly imagine when you finally get a look at it. This is Deathbed, the Bed That Eats. It's on Blu-ray now, and I think even Jimmy Fallon has spoofed this on occasion. It truly, that's exactly what it is. It's about a bed that eats people. It's the funniest, weirdest, stupidest thing I've ever seen, and you can't stop watching it. As soon as it's over, you want to watch it again. It is just completely off the...
As soon as it's over, you want to watch it again.
As soon as it's over, you go, I can't believe that actually exists.
It's like Chinese food.
No, as soon as it's over, you go, I can't believe that exists in the world. I've got to put it back on. I got to show my friends and family. I got to invite the neighborhood over. They're never going to believe this. It's just totally off the wall. Not scary by any means. And then Monkey Shines and The Dark Half, both by George Romero, who, of course, has done many things other than Night of the Living Dead and Creepshow, but those are the ones that he's only known for. So this is The Dark Half, obviously the Stephen King novel directed by George Romero, and not a bad interpretation of it. That's on Blu-ray now from Scream Factory, with a whole ton of extras, including a commentary by Romero, who's a really smart guy and does a great job, and then stuff on the visual effects and everything else. And Monkey Shines, the story of a man and his evil pet monkey, one of the more adult films that Romero made, which actually feels like it's much more well thought out than probably anything else, based on a novel by Michael Stewart, which did pretty well at the time. This is a late 80s film that's I think this is, really deserves to be rediscovered, and this is also from the Orion Library and released through Scream Factory. So I'm glad all that Orion stuff is making its way out. Now, Mark.
Yes, sir.
We are both fans of the French director Jacques Tati.
Meh.
Well, thanks to Criterion, Tati is his complete oeuvre is now out.
Wait, let me tell you something. I had to buy this. You know why I had to buy this?
Because I'm not giving you mine.
Because you're not going to give me yours. I had to buy this, Wade.
Yep.
The complete Jacques Tati.
It's fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Unexpurgated.
If you want to see a director like no other, basically a silent film director, he's a silent film director mixed with like a French comic mindset.
It's just
mixed with beautiful, gorgeous, modern touches in Playtime and just.
And Playtime is the only 65 millimeter negative, 70 millimeter print film ever filmed on the European continent by a European director.
What?
I mean, that's like, really, it's the only one. It's the only one, especially in France. There are no 70mm French widescreen epics. There's only Playtime. And it's such a beautiful movie.
I love it.
7 discs here. And you get Jour de Fête, Monsieur Hulot's Holiday, Mon Oncle, Playtime, Traffic, Parade, and some shorts, which is great. The packaging, you get those slimline kind of cardboardy cases that fit inside the sleeve. So it's a little bit flimsy as far as packaging goes, but it's just keep it safe and keep it away from the silverfish, and you'll be good.
What's amazing about Tati is that it's so. And again, we're talking like we're talking in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
So many of his films had to do with technology and how technology is like taking over. And our dependence upon technology and modern conveniences and whatnot, and that is so relevant today. Even though obviously Tati is not around to make movies about Facebook, still he was working. Even in Jour de Fête, he was working themes like that.
Oh yeah,
it's just great. And Playtime obviously is the ultimate. High technology and the modern era and whatnot, and how this poor trench coated Jacques Tati is going to survive this this cold sterile computer era. It's all there. I think this guy's great.
It's fantastic. Really is. Just outstanding. So that the extras, there's no way to even enumerate them. It's one of the,
you can. It would just take a while.
It would take like a whole show. It's one of the most complete and packed suites of extras you will find on any set from Criterion. So this is once again Criterion just raising the bar and outdoing themselves. It's an incredible, extraordinary set.
Actually, I would say it's one of the best releases of the year.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
else is out there? Did Smaug or something? Some Hobbit Smaug thing? No. Go get yourself the Jacques Tati.
Pretty great stuff. On the foreign language front, we got a few other things that are worth making note of. Dormant Beauty, which is a Marco Bellocchio movie that kind of came and went, and people sort of literally missed it. It's got Isabelle Huppert in it, although it's an Italian film. And this is a really interesting drama about a group of people. They're all separate lives, different storylines, but all people who are dealing with the role of faith in their lives. And one, for example, is about a senator who is in a position of having to vote for a law that involves capital punishment. And in another case, there's a story about assisted suicide, and it really is quite interesting. Bellocchio has made there's no way to ever pinpoint him on a film. He's all over the map, and he's very talented. But sometimes he makes films that are better than at other times, and not all of his movies necessarily make it over here. This received a theatrical release thanks to Kino, and it's now on DVD. Unfortunately, not on Blu-ray. Probably should be on Blu-ray at some point. We can only hope. But Isabelle Huppert is just magnificent in it. And really, that's probably the only reason it got a release in the U.S. So that tells you something. Also, if you saw Wim Wenders' film Pina, you probably know a great deal about Pina Bausch as a choreographer. And you can learn even more by watching the wonderful film One Day Pina Asked by Chantal Akerman, the great French director. And this was made over many years. This was released in 1983. It's only an hour long. And this is, I think, in many respects better than the Wim Wenders film because it's much closer to it. It was shot when she and her company were in their prime. It's not sort of a posthumous tribute. This is really in the moment and really immerses you in her sensibilities and in what she was doing. And it's really quite gripping. I obviously, I think the two films are great companion pieces, but I think to really, really immerse yourselves in who she was and what she was all about and how she related to her dancers, this is the film you want to watch. It's One Day Pina Asked.
Wade, don't know what to make of Le Chef. This is with Jean Reno, and this is sort of like a Ratatouille thing, One Big Night kind of thing. It's about this aspiring chef who gets fired from a lot of jobs because he's very fussy. And in the end, he winds up being discovered by his idol, played by Jean Reno. And the idol is a revered but a bit old school, kind of fading into obscurity kind of a chef. And he's about to be fired from his own restaurant. So the owner of the restaurant says, "Hey, old fussy chef played by Jean Reno, you should take on this kid and do like an Odd Couple in the kitchen kind of a situation." So, it's cute. There's some funny lines, like they do some funny stuff with the language of food, like the fragmentation of a duck, and there's a little bit of laughs there, especially when it comes to like making fun of modern cooking. But, ultimately, I don't know that this really amounted to all that much. I would, if you have to see a movie called Chef, I would definitely more strongly recommend the Jon Favreau film called Chef.
Yeah, which, you know what? That's going to be in the awards mix, too, isn't it?
I don't know what to do with it. I mean, what would you do with it?
They sent us that screener. You got that one, right?
No.
You didn't get Chef?
I did.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah, I did.
It's the retail DVD that we already saw, yeah. Alrighty, I'm going to blow real quickly through a whole bunch of, as we're getting short on time, through a whole bunch of other foreign language films. Just should be on your radar here. Venus in Fur, of course, the Tony-winning play, directed by Roman Polanski with his wife, Emmanuelle Seigner, and Mathieu Amalric, who, of course, is just getting all kinds of attention all of a sudden because he's really awesome. And it took him playing a villain in a Bond movie to get his recognizability in the United States up. But anyway, I think this is a minor Polanski, but it's perfectly serviceable. I don't know that it's as good as necessarily seeing the play, but I it's perfectly fine. Borgman is a Blu-ray and digital HD combo set from Draft House. Boy, this is an odd film. This is a Dutch film from 2003 that is really, I could almost see this being remade by an American studio given the plot. This is about this vagrant, this almost like Svengali, like Rasputin-like vagrant who, you know what this is? This is like if Down and Out in Beverly Hills were not a comedy, but were instead some kind of dark psychological thriller. That's exactly what it is. And he's Borgman, and it's he Nick Nolte he ain't. It's a good looking Blu-ray, very nicely done. Another fascinating pickup from Draft House that probably would have fallen completely off of people's radar otherwise. Siddharth from Zeitgeist is an Indian film by Richie Mehta. Boy, this is a depressing movie, but really, really good. This is about a father who sends his son off to be a laborer in a factory, which apparently, even though it's illegal, a lot of people do this in India to help their families make ends meet. And, they need the money, so they send the kid off to be a laborer, and next thing you know, the kid's gone. He's disappeared. He was at the factory one day and he wasn't there the next day. Well, where is he? Well, he went wandering off, and he has to go look for his son, and it's so sad because, there are all of these little details. He doesn't have a picture of his son. And they're like, what are you talking about? Your father. You don't have a photograph of your son? Well, I never took a photograph. And it's as a portrait of what it means to be poor in India, it's just devastating. It's just a devastating story. Really tough to watch. Not on Blu-ray, only on DVD from Zeitgeist. It's called Siddharth, as in, like Siddhartha. The kid's name is Siddharth, Siddharth. Coffee in Berlin won a ton of awards in Germany. This is a beautiful black and white film that is kind of it's a little bit like a German version of After Hours in some sense. This guy, it's just everything is going wrong in his life, and it's a really fascinating little odyssey that he undergoes while he tries to put his life back together. And it's beautifully done. It's beautifully written. It's very clever. It feels very very After Hours meets Woody Allen kind of. And it's definitely worth checking out. The German Doctor by Lucia Puenzo was a Cannes Film Festival selection, I think about a year ago. It is historically not even remotely accurate, but it is an interesting film from a psychological standpoint. It takes place in 1960, and it speculates as to what if Dr. Mengele, while he was hiding out in South Africa, ingratiated himself into an Argentine family's life and actually did some good for them. And they then discover that this man who appears to be very concerned for their child and for their welfare is actually this psychotic Nazi murderer. Very, very interesting from that standpoint. Doesn't really follow the historical, motions of the trajectory of Mengele, where he was at a given point in time, but it is what it is. And then Alexander Sokorov's Faust, which has been out previously on DVD, is now out on Blu-ray, and not better than any other version of Faust, but certainly very, very good, and a nice interpretation given Sokorov's sensibilities and style. So certainly goes alongside other Faust stories, not above them, I would say, but a good-looking Blu-ray just the same. And then before I turn it back over to Mark, another black and white film, Wolf, which is stylistically more interesting than it is narratively interesting, well acted. Basically about a Moroccan kickboxer who it's a Dutch film, and it's about a Moroccan kickboxer who really has no way out other than crime, and how the effect that has on his life when he decides to cross to the other side, and how it affects his aspirations and his career. Shot in black and white, feels a lot like the Mathieu Kassovitz film Hate, La Haine from 30 years ago, 20 years ago. But a little narratively looser, but well acted. Marwan Kenzari, who stars in it as Majid, is really good, an incredibly magnetic figure, and look for him in some other movies. He's really, really good. And this is from IFC.
Wade, coming in for a landing here on the show, we have two from Leos Carax, Wade's favorite director in the whole world.
Yep. Can't stand him. Cannot stand him.
Well,
I shouldn't say that. Look. He annoys me, but he does some interesting stuff every once in a while.
Look,
but that last damn thing of his,
I
just wanted to shoot myself.
Loved it. Okay, well, you have to admit, his first film, called Boy Meets Girl, is a great starting point for who Leos Carax would become, because I think that he was working out his Leos Caraxiness, but he wasn't completely as inaccessible as he'd become in Holy Motors, although I loved Holy Motors. It's about a guy named Alex, who, by the way, is Carax's real first name, and he falls in love, and it's all about sort of this weird ennui of like being a 20-something, falling in love, and all you care about is your own opinions, and then all your opinions are crap, but you're 20-something, what do you know? And just the way he presents it, he's like in love with movies, and he adds like all these textures and props and mysteries, and it's just a really interesting love story. It's like nothing you've ever seen. It's a really cool movie, Boy Meets Girl. I would definitely 100% recommend it. It's from 1984, and then he followed that up with a very strange little movie. Well, actually, he didn't really follow it up with a strange little movie, but Wade, Mauvais Sang?
Mauvais Sang. Bad
Mauvais
blood.
Sang.
Mauvais Sang.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
Yeah.
Now, the overall on this film sounds like it's like a science fiction thing where it's about like it's in France and there's a sexually transmitted disease going around, and it's spread by having sex but without emotional involvement. So if you're just a bunch of kids sleeping around because it's fun, you might contract this sexually transmitted disease. And it's about these people trying to either find a cure but also falling in love and not falling in love and learning what it's like to actually have an emotional involvement when you do fall in love. So it's very moody, and it's really gets into that like passionate intensity of youth, and again, just like Holy Motors and just like Boy Meets Girl, Carax is really into cinema. He loves movies. He loves referencing other movies. He loves making you think that he wants you to know you're watching a movie. He doesn't want you necessarily involved in he doesn't want the movie sweeping over you. He wants to constantly remind you that you're watching a movie about a story, but is it a movie about a story or a story about a movie?
Yeah,
he does all that stuff.
Yeah, I know. I hate that.
Yeah, exactly. But I like that. So Boy Meets Girl, definitely recommended, and Mauvais Sang.
Mauvais Sang.
Also recommended.
Très bien.
By the way, with Mauvais Sang, you will never listen to the song to David Bowie's Modern Love the same way again.
Well, good. That's something I've always yearned to have happen. Wrapping out, just three more here. Two of them from the great Chris Marker. The most interesting of them is On Strike. On Strike is really, really a fascinating slice of history because this is from Icarus Films. On Strike was shot in 1967 when there's a lot of backstory to this, so I'll cut this really short. There's a strike at a textile plant in Besançon in France, and the marker decided to not only shoot it, but he was shooting another film at the time, and he became involved in the organization of the workers and formed what was known as the Medvedkin Group, which was named after Alexander Medvedkin, who invented the Cinetrain, which is a this thing that toured Russia in the 1930s and kind of photographed agrarian life and so forth and so on. So there's this is Marker kind of getting into his Marxist mode, supporting the workers, shooting them, but being involved with them at the same time. And this also includes the film Class of Struggle, which was shot by the workers that he trained. And then also included here is Be Seeing You, which is the film that he was shooting with Mario Marais when all of this happened. So if any of that makes sense, it's worth checking out. And you get a rather remarkable snapshot of history and of a filmmaker. And it's Marker probably more raw than you've seen him in a lot of his other movies. The other one here is from the late 90s. Marker's been gone from us since 2012, but this is a weird movie. Level 5. This woman is making a video game, and it has something to do with Okinawa and Japan and World War II, and we become this like video essay commentary on life and war and the Japanese, and that's as much narrative as you really get there. It's interesting. It's kind of lesser Marker, but it's still interesting. And then lastly, the amazing Jan Troell, the Swedish filmmaker who just doesn't go away, who is best known as the director of the Emigrants, which was when he got an Academy Award nomination and hasn't been nominated since. But he keeps making great movies, and he's old now. I don't even know how old Jan Troell is. He's got to be like deep into his 80s. But he made a film called The Last Sentence, set during World War II, and telling the story, the actual story of a journalist who took on Hitler. And it is rather a gripping tale and an extraordinary story, and I'm surprised it hasn't been told before, and it's beautifully made, and you just can't go wrong. And my only regret here is that the film isn't out on Blu-ray. I would love for them to have sent us a Blu-ray of this, but apparently the Blu-ray is not available. Or at least they didn't do a Blu-ray. There were plans for a Blu-ray, and there isn't a Blu-ray. So we have the DVD of The Last Sentence, a gorgeous, gorgeous film in black and white. Yet another black and white film this week from the great Swedish director Jan Troell. I wish this were on Blu-ray. I hope Music Box makes the decision to release this on Blu-ray at some point in the future. Please, it is well worth it. And with that, Mark, I think we're done.
Okay, Smaug.
So,
yes, Smaug.
In 1 week, Mark.
Yes.
Our holiday show.
What?
The big holiday show.
What?
It's next week.
Oh my
It's been
God.
long in the planning.
Yes.
A lot of great stuff. It's going to be really fun. Hopefully it's better than every other show we've ever done, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And
Don't oversell it, Wade.
And then we go on hiatus, possibly through the end of the year. We may be back mid-December. Depends on how the whole LAFCA award season thing shakes out.
Well, you know that we won't do any like December 1st or December 7th.
No, absolutely not.
Because all we will be doing is watch. And by the way, it's like our eyes start to bleed. We complained about this every year on the show at this time.
So we'll be gone for at least 2 weeks thereafter. Possibly back mid-December. Keep an eye on the Facebook page.
Come on, you got
Probably
back. Wait, come on. Give
Well,
the
we'll
people
see.
what they want.
Well, we'll see. You're going to be out of town at a certain point, aren't you? Leaving town. You're
Yeah,
leaving
for
town just
Thanksgiving.
for Thanksgiving, but not for the other
Christmas?
latter part of the holidays.
That is correct.
Okay. I don't know if I am.
Because I love our fans, Wade. You want to ditch them.
I do. All right, ditchy fans. So with that, anyway, so big holiday show next week. Then we're off for a couple of weeks, and then possibly back for a week, maybe two, in the middle of December, depending on how things shake out. But if not, if our holiday hiatus extends through December, then we are back immediately after the new year. So continue to email us at gods@digigods.com. Send us Vox boxes where, we will jump right into them first thing in the new year. Gods@digigods.com. Send us emails, gods@digigods.com. And come on down to the Facebook page. A lot of great discussions going on. We'll see you next week. Big holiday show.